Well, let's get analysis now with Michael Purcell in Washington, D.C. He's an adjunct professor teaching Russia and international security, along with security policy studies at George Washington University. Thank you for talking to us. So, not many analysts are expecting a major breakthrough from Friday's meeting. What do you expect will happen?
Well, I think we expect certainly not a major breakthrough, but a breakthrough in the sense that President Trump will focus, at least for the moment, on the conflict. And that's better than what we've seen in the past. His sort of personalized foreign policy is great when it works, but when it doesn't, he tends to lose interest and shift to different topics. So as your correspondent learned, that many of us believe that walking into this is a win for Putin, at least in the eyes of the Russian people, because he's coming to America. He's sitting and will be seemingly at a press conference with President Trump. And for Putin and his vision of Russia as a great power, this is the kind of evidence that he loves to have to bolster his legitimacy with the Russian people and the international community, and to not have President Zelensky present is unfortunate, but I guess a meeting's better than nothing.
Well, Trump talks about severe consequences for Russia if they don't agree to end this war. But what type of leverage, realistically, does Washington have over Moscow? And also when it comes to a deal, Trump loves the idea that he's a good negotiator, but so is Vladimir Putin.
I think in moments like this, it's worth contemplating the differing political structures of the U.S. and Russia, because when they present together in a personalized format like this, we do reflect on the idea that they are both great powers, at least in the sense that they have nuclear deterrence, despite differing sort of economic power. But in that sense, right, Russia hasn't seen a free and fair election in quite some time, we're talking decades, right? President Trump feels at the moment to be sort of emboldened by his recent victory, but he still plays to the American public. You can see that in his approach to the conflict. He emphasizes the idea that we are no longer paying for military aid to Ukraine, that the Europeans are actually paying us to provide those military weapons, whereas on the Russian side, we can call President Putin a good negotiator, but when you don't have the consequences of elections to worry about, your room to maneuver, so to speak, is significantly bigger. So authoritarian regimes can play the long game in terms of foreign policy, and it's important not to mistake just that sort of strategic freedom that they have with the idea that he has some kind of grand self-serving interests at stake. I think President Trump has said this because it's just plainly true. This war is serving no sort of material purpose. It's harming Russia. The longer it goes on, it harms Russia's economy. And I think in the long run, maybe even President Putin would understand that he's just cutting his nose off to spite his face.
Michael, how much of what is currently happening on the battlefield in Ukraine is going to impact these discussions, especially on how Russia deals with it?
Well, the situation now is it's a war of attrition, and that's to Russia's advantage. So this is, President Trump's words, as he so famously said to President Zelensky in the Oval Office, Ukraine doesn't have the cards, Putin has the cards. And I think what he meant in that case was that Russia has the advantage on the battlefield. This should be no surprise to us, right? Russia is significantly larger in every respect and can sustain a wasteful attritional war. So this, again, gives President Putin more room to maneuver, more strategic freedom, and quite frankly, a meeting that leads to another meeting that takes months. I would imagine the Russians see that just to be fine with them as they continue to incrementally take land away from a sovereign Ukraine.
Michael Purcell, really good to get your analysis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.